Only a guilty man flees Peter. Get away from me! As you wish, but you will never escape your fate.
I know there's a connection. Don't think I won't find it.
Maybe you're not looking in the right direction.
So, you believe in me at last.
Wildcat says you're a nut job.
Funny, he says the same thing about you.
He's right.
Okay, bored now. Goodbye.
It matters little. The Presence is pleased that you have come to experience empathy.
Go away. Don't touch that.
Wow. I had no idea that the Girl Scouts were responsible for the crop circle phenomenon.
Few people do. Few even think to ask the question.
This caring has cost me much. Why must I suffer it?
Good morning, Vietnam!
Thought crimes. Thought crimes. Thought crimes. Thought crimes. Thought crimes.
nigga culture, or the repercussions while busting on backstabbing vultures.
What good has my power done? All reality is being ripped to pieces.
To whom much is given, much will be required.
I'm the trap Grace Jones. I don't know what type of motherfucking crap they on.
What you do before you enter the game? Create a player. Hold on.
Salutations! It's your uncle, Sam. And this is the great American game.
What you do when you forget it's a game? Hate the creator? Hold on.
Scorekeeper, deduct 1 life.
Warning. The Federal Communications Commission has determined the following content to be emotionally harmful. Snowflakes should not view this content under any circumstances, even if supervised by a G.I. Joe, Navy SEALs, Army vet, or someone with good common sense. The views and opinions expressed, including the depictions of persons of color, corrupt politicians, white people with or without a tan, haters, who have yet to brush their teeth typing angrily in the comment section with hot breath syndrome, do not reflect any official policy or position of the U.S. government. This program contains graphic language, dark comedy, unique intelligence, creativity, a high credit score, and high blood pressure when triggered. This program has also been accused of racism, violence, misogyny, mansogyny, feminism, MGTOWism, defacement of celebrities, and of course, being a bully. Welcome to Thought Crimes.
Welcome to Thought Crimes, everyone. This is your girl, Sincere, and I'm here with...
Hey, yo, this is your man, P. Solo Prince Solomon in the building.
I just want to say you did an excellent job, Prince, with breaking down Joey Badass and Daylight and the whole battle that's going on there. So, great job. And a shout out to Mick Jenkins as well. He's putting out some great music.
That'll make you angry as a motherfucker.
They said it wouldn't be televised. You would think it ain't no revolution. You shine a light and niggas translucent.
Right now, we're going to be talking about J. Cole, who came out with a track called Clouds. And we're going to break down what we enjoyed about that particular track. Also, if you don't mind, I do want to read a comment from Joey. Joey follows us on X, and we follow him as well. He said, everyone is commenting on the rapping, which is amazing. But I want to equally express how he was impressed by the subject matter. In particular, how Cole's ability to weave in different subjects, from AI replacing humans and taking jobs away, to kids getting addicted to screens, lack of physical ownership in the streaming era, and comparing that to renting a crib. You won't own a thing. Also, the greed of billionaires.
It's a stock exchange. There's no money you can steal.
Really? And why are you people here?
And I just wanted to bring that up because that's a lot of the subject matter we like to talk about here, you know, on Thought Crimes too, Prince, you know, how we even talked about how we enjoyed B.O.B.'s track where he talked about artificial and intelligence, where he talked about how to make clones, even though he came from a comedic angle of it. He said, you know, is AI mimicking melanin?
Is it just me? Or is artificial intelligence mimicking melanin? What if melanated people were somebody's experiment?
We heard Jay-Z's gospel about owning your own. We've heard Kendrick talked about turn the TV off, about, you know, kids getting back into writing and reading. So I really did enjoy this particular track from Cole. I do want to hear your point of view. I'm really interested in what you have to say about this.
No, those are great points, and shouts out to Joey too, by the way. Yes, you know, in this particular manner here, this is what you call MCing, the dexterity of MCing. And my personal opinion, one of the individuals I feel that has pioneered the multiple subject matter. Basically these are very dense, packed verses. Cole, his flow was on point. I felt it was very invigorating. And what's interesting about it, when I was thinking about it, when I was listening to J. Cole spit, the subtle nuances that he was doing between subject matter, I said, that's what it is. One of the individuals that was really good at that, of course, was Nasty Nas himself. Nas, from early on, even going back to Live at the Barbecue. Of course, there's Rakim. Rakim did it very well on Over the Ledge and, Don't Sweat the Technique and all these other wonderful songs that he was able to curate with the likes of Eric B. But, of course, Nas took it to a different level, and you get a lot of that with, of course, Illmatic, The Lost Tapes, and even the subject matter that he was able to do on If I Ruled the World, featuring the one and only Lauryn Hill. And I do find a lot of that Nas influence because, of course, J. Cole has a song called Let Nas Down. But when I was listening to him traverse through the different voyages of subject matter, I could only help but feel that this was the influence of with the likes of Nas. And I had a moment, it was a crescendo, and I was like, oh, okay, I kind of get what sometimes for me personally in more recent projects that I felt that was a bit lacking from J. Cole is at times the themes. And I think J. Cole is a socially conscious artist, a socially conscious rapper, but also I think just like many artists, I think he's very aware and at times can be sensitive, like J. Cole has talked about in the past about the artwork. Like Erykah Badu said, if you're an artist, you're sensitive about your shit. And I remember one time a radio host had criticized J. Cole for bringing up politics when he was on the track with Miguel. And I didn't think it was a bad verse. I thought it was on point for what J. Cole has normally done in that manner. So here, I kind of feel like I got an idea of what some of his more subsequent projects, where he's just kind of just rapping, sharpening his tools. I'm rhyming words. I'm the best MC. I can rhyme words. I'm the best MC. Now, don't get me wrong, like I brought it with Rakim. Rakim has done that for a large part of his discography, but also Rakim did always interweave social commentary. And I think, J. Cole, he does that very well. And I will say, as much as he's able to Rubik's Cubes, verbs and adjectives and these things together to make these complex rhyme schemes, there's been some times where I am listening to J. Cole and I just hear somebody just rhyming words on top of words on top of words on top of words. Whereas with this one, I like that this was more focused. And like you stated earlier, of course, he was able to touch on many subjects. But aside from what took place with the battle, and I was just telling Sin, it is a part of his brand as an MC. I'm the type that I may battle someone, I'll battle anyone. That is a part of his brand. It's just what it is. Whereas, like I stated earlier, with some of the works with like Drake, whether he sings or whatever, people, they find moving on forward. They actually prefer him not to address anything. But with J. Cole, I actually feel this is the most focused I've actually heard J. Cole personally rhyme in a long time.
Yeah, when he said turn fiends into kings, he's talking about alchemy and talking about, cannabis. And even when you're talking about a lot of the MCs that pioneered the game, like Rakim and Nas, they used to talk about alchemy, ancient history, philosophy, and occult, and all different types of occultism. So when he says turning fiends to kings, we're talking about alchemy there. When you're transmuting something from one state to another. But then also, we have to even bring up Lauryn Hill. When I'm listening to these type of tracks from people like Cole, or even when we see certain tracks like Prayer and from Kendrick, or even some of the tracks that we heard on To Pimp a Butterfly, you really hear the strong influence of Lauryn Hill in the culture. But also, he mentioned Spike Lee on this. Eventually, I do want us to eventually break down in a video how Spike Lee has influenced hip hop. We know hip hop has influenced Spike Lee. Hip hop that came out from the mid 70s and 80s. But I also want to talk about how Spike Lee has been an inspiration to hip hop. Even when you brought up Spike Lee pertaining to Kendrick Lamar, when we was talking about a particular track on GNX, you know, I do think it's important to bring this stuff up, like, or even when we're talking about when Kendrick had "This Dick Ain't Free," you know, you could go back to the skits from Spike Lee's joints or from Robert Townsend. So I really do love when we have MCs that really show different fabrics of the culture, and they're able to effortlessly display that in their lyrics, you know. And this is Cole at his best when we get this type of J. Cole, where he's, you know, talking about his swag, talking about how he feels his pen game is elite, but also bringing up contemporary issues that are happening, you know, in the news, you know. And you could tell that it does bother him, even when he going back to the whole billionaire situation, you know. And also you know, I'm sure there's some issues of being conflicted because Cole may or may not be a billionaire himself, but, you know, people forget when you're Kendrick Lamar or J. Cole or you're any of these contemporary MCs, even if you're someone who's made a lot of money, you're still connected to everyday people, though. You still got cousins and people that you know that are still living a normal everyday life, and they probably calling you up like, yo, you know, Cole, you know, the grocery store. I mean, it's costing $300 to go to the grocery store. I mean, I don't know. I feel like they're more attached to the everyday people because they still know a lot of people who are still going through those type of situations versus, let's be honest, you know, you go into you know, Elon Musk, he's not, you know, he's not grounded in that type of reality where he still has friends or family members or people he's still talking to that can have those conversations to keep that person grounded. Like, no, you know, the everyday person is dealing with this, that, and the third. And I think what hip hop needs to remember is they cannot fly away like a balloon and get too caught up only in the luxury culture. I know luxury has always been a part of hip hop too. People wanted to look fly. LL Cool J, Run DMC, you know, looking fly has always been a part of hip hop too. But always being connected to the everyday people like Public Enemy, that's also been very important. So, you know, hopefully we can keep this ball going where we have, you know, not saying that MCs can't be on their fly stuff, but hopefully people talk about the real as well, because there's a lot of serious issues that's going on in the world domestically and abroad right now.
I mean, let's be honest, you know, Cole and Kendrick, and then of course you got the Rhapsodies and you got everybody else that we normally mention, but even for millennials, like, they're the end of that class, you know. And this is what I've always stated before, you know, at the end of the day, you'll know what hip hop is because political unrest bleeds into the music. See, rap is like, I'm fly, it don't matter. Trump in office, Obama in office, Hillary's in office. Nigga, if Hitler's in office, I'm getting my money. That's rap. That's rap right there. Don't matter. I'm going to keep rapping. I'm going to keep rapping. I'm going to keep rapping. Even if you see a homeless guy in the corner, he's just rapping his ass off. I'm rap. Don't matter what he smells like. I'm a rap. That is just a continuing energy. You'll know what hip hop is because the atmosphere of what's going on in life bleeds into the music. And I'm going to be honest with you. You look at what was going on with J. Cole at the end of towards Barack Obama and what was taking place, or at least in the center of everything. And then you saw whatnot with Donald Trump and the birther movement and the Tea Party. J. Cole is one of those artists that he is influenced by whatever the political atmosphere is. When it gets a little bit darker, it gets a little bit more desperate, dire, that's when you start hearing J. Cole give you the Forest Hill drives. That's when you start hearing him start mentioning what's been going on politically, because at the end of the day, he does mention these things in his music. And I did read the blurb that he had, and he talked about balancing life, and it seemed like the turn of events politically, it caused a depression for him in that. And, I do feel this is when you get a more crystallized J. Cole. I'm not saying the joints with Cameron and all of that stuff. That's fun stuff. That's cool. I think I might want to do something with the battle, and that's okay too. But I do know personally, even after listening, because I did replay it, we get the best out of J. Cole when he's in this pocket here, when he has something to say. Even when he used the metaphor of being the bullet that zipped by Trump's ear. I thought that was very clever. I like that bar because
it's a very strong bar.
He's also telling you how much emotions, also whether people know it or not, he's also telling you within that particular verse, he's also telling you about the different incarnations and the iteration of hate too, by the way. I'm manifesting a Trump bullet. It reminds me of, it does remind me of a bit of I Gave You Power. Off of it was written.
Right. A bit of Nas, but Nas is one of his favorite MCs.
Yeah, and I gotta say it though, I'm gonna still say it. This to me is up under that branch where you got like the best of Lupe, American Terrorist. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Like y'all know, we talked about all the other stuff, but I'm still gonna, we're still gonna talk about these people's art because they ain't get accused of none of the R. Kelly stuff. You get what I'm saying? So I'm gonna
you made a great point there. I mean, even when he's talking about I've seen babies turn fiends addicted to the screens. Their dad shares cashiers replaced by the machines. This Rage Against the Machines. Remember, even when we had the fusion of rock and hip hop, where people said they was gonna rage against the machines and artificial intelligence replacing us. But yeah, I just wanted to throw that in.
No, it's a great point, and I just. Look, at the end of the day, I love that we had a hip-hop battle. It happened. We know what's what. We know what it is. But I'm not going to lie to you all. Sometimes I am typically uninspired by a lot of the subject matter that's out there. This is one of the reasons why I thought To Pimp a Butterfly was remarkable. And even, but I really love To Pimp a Butterfly. Because realistically, let me give you an example. I grew up listening to trap music. I also grew up listening to Outkast, and there was the guys that was in between. There was the trap boys that was influenced by Outkast like T.I., right? Then there was the guys like Gucci Mane. It didn't sound like they ain't listen to nobody.
Then there's the guys that, Shorty Low, you the dope boy, but you find out he's extremely smart.
Yeah, so Units in the City.
Low.
Yeah. But I do feel what people think they were looking for or what they thought they was going to get the first time around after Obama, when we start seeing, YG and Nipsey Hussle, and you had some people. When I think and I hear about what J. Cole is putting into this particular track here, it does give me an idea of the direction of where he may be heading with the fall off. And the fall off could be a myriad of subjects. It could be the conversation surrounding the Republic of America. That's a theme right now. I think the fall off is now more than likely going to be expanded to possibly be included into many different things. And I think that's something that J. Cole does very well. And that's just has always kind of been my criticism of J. Cole as an MC. It's not even that, okay, do I think he's the best rapper of all? Because a lot of times I'm not looking at that, but I have heard J. Cole touch on other themes outside of just Foot Locker bars. And I don't have a problem with it. I really don't. But it's kind of like after a while, from this particular artist, I'm kind of looking to hear something else. And I'm going to be honest with you all. My personal opinion, this is the most focused I have heard J. Cole rhyme, subject matter, and to me, it is the most in touch with the current times of events that I have heard from J. Cole ever. My personal opinion.
And this is not NyQuil Cole.
No.
Like if Cole keep on this, then people won't be bird picking him. Because they was gonna bird pick on that carcass.
Take all them locks out his head.
But if he keeps showing out like this, he'll be perfectly fine. If this is the type of energy he's bringing on the fall off, he'll be perfectly fine. And just to add more to it, I love when you talked about trap, because trap music wasn't just stuck on money. Actually, about half of the trap artists, they did have politically charged music at time. T.I. for sure. But it was other guys in the trap out there in Georgia, not just Atlanta, Georgia, but even the surrounding areas that was making politically charged music. People we forget about 2 Chainz was a part of the campaign that helped college athletes get paid, because they weren't paying in the sports that were predominantly black. They was like, no, it's going to give bad ethics and all this other stuff. Because of people like 2 Chainz partnering up with LeBron and all that, and other trap artists, people like Angel Reese was able to be getting, I think, possibly a millionaire before she even got into the WNBA, and also people like Caitlin Clark and stuff like that. So it is really important for the music to have some level of balance. We know people experience dark and light. We know people enjoy sex. We know people enjoy all different type of things. Some things that can even go into the category of hedonism. But we need to have the light be balanced with the dark, and we need people to be talking about these current situations and relating to the general public. And this is what Cole did successfully with this track, and also to add to some other lyrics that I did like, he was like, don't buy, subscribe, so you can just stream your content like rent. You won't own a thing. Before long, all the songs the whole world sings, I'll be generated by the latest AI regimes. Now, this is also a dangerous thing too, because look, we told people that art is very important. We even, how it bleeds over into occultism when we were talking about sigils and different things like that, is a spiritual connection to art. And if art is controlled completely by AI and just 100% by the machines and nothing is organic, game over. And let me tell you why. Yeah, we could criticize artists right now as they stand. Even with all their flaws, they're still human. They could wake up one day out of their hedonism and be like Marvin Gaye. What's going on? And when the record label is like, no, Marvin, let's get back to the sexy. Marvin, like, my brother out there, fighting in Vietnam War. No, I got to get to the real. How am I gonna talk about sexy when our people are strung out on heroin? So with humans, as you gotta be careful, because they want you to make you think that nobody is redeemable. So you could just say, let's go off into AI. But if you go off into AI, everything is predictable. Then you can't have nobody that sticks their head out for one day and be like, you know what? Yeah, I was all up in between women's legs. I'm drinking all that. But, I got to say something. And we can't disregard the I got to say something. If you go all the way under AI, you're not going to get that. It's going to be 100% controlled. Of course, J. Cole cares about his money, his family, making sure he can pay the bills, making sure he's still getting them $1 million deals. But this is a track that I'm gonna stick my head out, just like I have done before, because I feel like something real needs to be said. Or what we saw even with Kendrick Lamar's performance at the halftime show. So it's very important for us to not just throw humans away just because we could be very difficult at times.
Well, so cLOUDs also is going to be speaking to, what is in the sky. Because the whole point is you don't own anything, right? It's like what they say, Apple Cloud, Google Cloud, it's cloud service. There's a double entendre. Maybe people's heads are too far up in the clouds to see what is going on. Look, I'm going to be honest with you. If this is the direction J. Cole is going, and he's going to actually be talking about something that Prince Solomon can see, understand, and relate to, I'm all for it. I'm all for the fall off. Look, I don't mind whimsical bars. I really don't. And I don't mind the metaphors. I don't mind the intelligent, articulate similes. Even if we bring up somebody like Kendrick Lamar, where he's had his stylistically deceptive, simple GNX album, because I still say stylistically it's deceptively simple, and there's more density there, but Kendrick has given you that work his entire career, from Good Kid, Mad City to Pimp a Butterfly to Damn to even the more dense dual disc album, Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers. So when he says, you know what, guys, I kind of just want to strip it down right now, I want to just have a minimalist approach to sound, he was like, you know what, do it.
And he was doing throwback sounds that's local to the West Coast too.
I feel because of the type of artist that I've heard J. Cole to be in the past, I think this is the perfect time for him to move beyond the empty, caloric, rhetorical, I'm the best MC bars. I don't mind it. That's fine.
He had a little bit of that in this.
Yeah, but because he starts that off that way. But
yeah.
the second, the remaining verse in the second verse is really, he starts really getting into some strides and some rhythms, and he's talking about what he feels. And I think that's what I didn't like sometimes early on, or even at the middle part of his career, is there was no vulnerability there. At some point, it just became, I can just rhyme with this. I'm doing the feature. This is the time, like I said, the most I've heard him focus, clear, concise, and my personal opinion, I think it's the most emotionally vulnerable and psychologically vulnerable that I've heard from him, where he's talking about what he sees, where I will say a lot of the other guys are going to act like they don't see what's going on right now. And that is the whole thing what you're seeing with media right now in general. Just people just saying, don't see it, or they're saying, I don't care. And I do feel this is a curse of contemporary hip hop today, because particularly with the millennials and the Gen Zers, one of the reasons why you're going to have them say, I don't care, because it isn't a subject matter anymore. Nobody's really talking about it. You and I, we covered the last regime of the, even what you want to call gangster political rap, or just the hardcore political rap with the Immortal Techniques and Dead Prez. That is the reason why you had the young people get out there and they were manhandling George Bush in this, at the end of his second term. The people, in fact, they got together, a lot of people in the industry got together, they said, well, we want to make sure this isn't taking place. This is a very deep conversation here, but I'm just going to say this. One of the things they said towards the end of the Bush administration, you can go look it up yourself, we're not looking to have this energy out here no more. No more Dead Prez, no more Immortal Technique, no more Diabolic, Logic, none of them guys. Akala, none of them. We don't want to see nobody rapping this hard about government and they got spirulina in their cup. So they
Lupe
said
at the time.
Lupe was the biggest whipping boy because he was double platinum. See, you know, you can look at Dead Prez being from Florida, the brothers that they are.
Shout out to them, love them.
But they weren't going like platinum. Lupe went double platinum, had #1 Billboard singles, had a pop song, and then he was still talking that stuff he was talking.
About the second term of Obama as well, with the March of Wall Street, which was very important. Is to go back also what you said about Dead Prez. What made Dead Prez also really deadly is, even though they were being prevented, I would say, to be on the charts like on the level as Lupe, they still had such an effect on the culture. You even saw Jay-Z hop on remixes of their songs.
They didn't want us to come together. Hopeless Street.
It's bigger than
Ocean Ave.
Hip hop. Hip hop.
Yeah. So and I remember going out to get the RGB CD, you know, and the Let's Get Free album. I think they have 2 certified classics, but I'm not gonna lie to you all. One of the reasons why people can say what they want to say, when the boy put out To Pimp a Butterfly, it was still coming out of that energy. That's why you saw all of them rally in the streets about we gonna be on right. And I did see that with Cole at the beginning with Forest Hill Drive and the Ville joint. And then
also for your eyes only, he kept it going for there, yeah.
The E. Coli said no.
They didn't like that album.
They hated that album.
I like that one.
We liked the album, but they told us y'all don't know anything. We said, all right, but I'll just say this. This was refreshing to hear. I'm not going to lie to you all, especially, some of the some of his interpretations of metaphors, and he was using these dark metaphors to show you psychologically how frustrated he was. And I thought that was brilliant. And I think when Cole is in that zone, I think he's in a pocket right there.
I like when he said pain brings profit. One man's gain as soon as the next man lost it.
That's how it goes.
It made me think of even a Babyface penmanship when Babyface wrote for Whitney, who, oh my gosh, she sung it beautifully when he wrote, for every win, someone must fail. It was on the track for Waiting to Excel. And writers are, as people forget, that's why I'm glad like even Kendrick had Gloria on his that PG Lane jacket too, by the way, is very fly. But when he had Gloria on it in his pen, I think it's very important for whether you're a MC, I don't care if you Mooney Love, when you pen in SZA, you pen in R&B, rock and roll, whatever you doing. If you a writer, I think you should come out and you should wear that. You should wear that and be proud of that. Because writing has an effect. Look at how Harry Potter books spread. Look at how so many prolific writers, even if you talk about poetry from Langston Hughes, whether you talk about Maya Angelou, like writing is important, and it's something that feeds the soul. It's something that creates imagination. It can be provocative, but it can also push people to stand for something and to stand up for something. It also can steer the subconscious and stir the subconscious into the conscious having self-realization to move. So I just think that it's important for us to keep this energy. And I'm glad that you even talked about GNX. It was deceptively simple, but it packed a major punch. There's a lot of depth into rolling into the GNX album that for someone to have so many layers in something that seems simple, that's a prolific writer. It's when you can take something that conceptually seems simple, like a simple concept, like GNX, where you talk about the car, you talk about, throwback sounds of Cali, and, you just bringing that West Coast flavor. But you're allegedly talking about the death of XXXTentacion. You talking about, 50 Cent and how he's playing allegedly Littlefinger to Drake. You're talking about the culture. You're talking about how bringing it back to the music, how black music is important, penmanship. So, and a lot of other things culturally that Kendrick was breaking down in the GNX. But going back to Cole, to the clouds, I also agree with you, because I also thought maybe he was talking about even cloud services, but I'm like, maybe I don't want to read too deep into that yet. But possibly so, because you're talking about AI and technology, and you can't talk about AI and technology without talking about the cloud. So I agree with that too. Also saying, because greed is a poisonous seed, indeed, as it spreads like weeds through the minds of apple trees, produced with caution, and I'm not flossing. Unlike some, I'm not defined by my fortune. And that's also the difficult thing too, because it's like, sometimes we're judgmental of each other, but we know it's a struggle. If you completely go out there, you could be sacrificing your fortune, and that could hurt your family and other people intimately. It also, it's a martyrdom, it's a sacrifice of self, but the reason why the system is rigged, not saying anything, is a sacrifice of self too, because in your soul you feel like you're eroding inside, because you feel like, damn, I should say something. So it's a catch-22. It's like government, or the decisions made by big tech, the technocrats, the plutocrats, the oligarchies. the decisions that they make and also the mistakes that the people make, it can entrap your soul either way. You get the money and don't say anything, you may feel safe, but again, your soul is eroding. But if you say something, then they take away all your resources and so on and so forth. So
it reminds me of what Meek Mill said. You know, he said on a recent record, he says they don't kill you physically anymore; they just kill your bag. You know, and I thought that was a profound bar. Again, you know, yeah, Meek falling down the steps upside down like an egg and shit. You know, that's another story. But you know, that's what I said. That's what won people over a lot of times with Prodigy. You know, because Jay-Z's dope. Don't get me wrong. He's dope. He's a dope nigga now when he's rapping. But I'm not going to lie. When I was, I'm not going to lie. You know, yeah, I like the pre-plutocrat Jay-Z when we're talking about Blueprint, the final form of the dope boy. Now he's aspiring into spaces of technocracy and possibly building a hierarchy that can lead his empire, his black empire, to a form of oligarchy. That's a part of the inspirational capitalistic endeavors that Jay-Z espoused. I know people don't want to look at it that way, but that is the final form of it. You know, he was sitting down in Microsoft commercials with Bill Gates. Jay-Z rapped about Bill Gates spent $10 million on a commercial with just my hands, right?
Well, Jay-Z's philosophy is that there should be black people who, and this is just what his music seemingly put out, his philosophy that black people should be at the table of all of these events. So instead of stealing technology from black people, like what we said, the fake Steve Jobs chick, black people should be at the table as technocrats too. To your point, you know, but there's a lot of black people who don't approve of.
Well, that's where I was going.
You know, go ahead. No, I just want to say, that his gospel is I want blackness in these spaces, but you're gonna have a lot of black people who gonna be like those spaces shouldn't exist. Period.
Well, or the other reality is you might be the only black nigga to get in there. Yeah, you know, in like middle school, this shit sound cool, but then you know you get older, you're like, it ain't. He even said it on a written testimony with Jay Electronica. I think it's a slept-on album, my personal opinion. But he said it there, and Jay-Z also said it on Watch the Throne. He said there's Jay-Z, he said there's me, there's Oprah, there's Will, but he also said this is all that it is. And then you hear him become more self-reflective because I think people slept on a written testimony. Me and Sin reviewed it. But Jay-Z, he almost gave me a bit of Citizen Kane energy there. I'm bringing all this up because it ties back to Cole, which is why I do believe idealistically why they came at a juncture where they've split their partnership at that point. But with Jay-Z, when he was rapping on the Blueprint and Young Money, get your money, get your all this room full of vultures, all this shit he was doing, and it's fantastic. But Nas was on the other side of that. You know, what about the AP Advanced Art niggas, the portfolios? What about the Langston Hughes and all this other stuff? And then 444. Prodigy,
Jay-Z got there on 444.
Prodigy was on the other side of that.
Mm-hmm.
There was three perspectives. There was Jay-Z, then there was Nas, and then there was Prodigy. Prodigy won a lot of people over, Sin, to your point, because he kept speaking about the everyday people.
Yeah, he said I can't do the technocracy and shit. He said he came out with HNIC 2.
Yeah,
you know,
it was just a classic
album.
Prodigy had you thinking that all of these rich people, including the black rappers, was all getting molested on an island by a big owl.
He was talking about Jeffrey Epstein,
right?
and Diddy and them before. You know, a lot of other rappers was putting it out there, and Jay-Z did finally come to the conclusion on 444. But it's like he doesn't. It's like we don't see the. Okay, it's like what you said. Okay, we don't see the fruits of the philosophy. If we had thousands of black, let's say, billionaires, like in some other spaces, and let's say black people who are starting their tech software programs and robotics and all that can do it and have their own capital flowing with black people. We're talking. But the problem is with the Jay-Z philosophy is like we don't see no type of black towns being created. We don't see, black billionaires just take over a town and have products be made there and new technology and all that, the frontier and all that. We don't see it. So this is why the majority of black people aren't supporting that philosophy. They support, a lot of black people do support any black person, no matter the philosophy, if they feel like, the system is unfairly and unjustly coming for them. But outside of that, to your point of the philosophy that he had, the Prodigy, what he was saying in his music before he died, and even what you brought up with some of the other people, like even Nas. Nas is flashy too, though. I don't want people to get it twisted. When he came out with Life is Good, he basically embraced the fact that he's rich. And he embraced the fact that he lives a lavish lifestyle. The only difference between him and Jay-Z is he don't really try to... he don't really do the pulpit money gospel. He'll do it a little bit. I think that's why when he did it with Jay-Z with the crypto stuff, I think that's why people got mad at him, because they feel like, oh, that's Jay-Z lane. We don't want to hear that from you, Nas. So if Nas talks about a little bit of luxury, people are fine with it because Nas has always been fly. But if he goes a little bit beyond that, people do, take issue with it.
See, that's the space that J. Cole finds himself in, is that although he does it a little bit differently, but I typically feel the same way. Look, I'm not gonna lie to you. Nas has talked about sexing women down and menage a trois and all
the
that
time. Yeah.
The worst of it was Uchiwali. All right, or You Owe Me Ice. So everybody got on him about that.
Because it wasn't in the way he likes to do it. To your point, his style is like he liked to put on the Sade music and talk about how he liked to sex a woman down, or he'll like to be on that hot boy stuff with the ladies like Missy stuff. At the worst of it, it is the Jay Wine thing because he didn't want to be there.
Yeah. So the reason why I bring up the Jay-Z situation is just Jay-Z is his own spirit animal. It's like Tupac. You're not going to get that. Y'all can stop trying. I'm the realest niggas in Tupac. That's his own spirit animal. Jay-Z's his own spirit animal. All right? And then you have everybody that they take pieces of them somewhere. Nas is his own situation as well. Jay-Z... People, as he got older, they enjoyed him opening up a little bit more. But 444 has always, that's been a part of who he is from Reasonable Doubt. Reasonable Doubt, to me personally, is the same album as damn near 444. It's just that it's more psychologically, eternally reflective versus what you saw with on 444. My point is this, going back to J. Cole, J. Cole is one of those artists that he has to talk about these things, because I'm not going to lie, if he came out, I know we had that battle, but I'm just saying, when people hear J. Cole come out and they get on him about saying he wanted to be the deadliest MC or whatever, and then you do have that moment, because like I said, that is a part of his brand battling too. So it is what it is, right? So we move on forward. If you're the son of Nas did have Ether and Jay-Z. I would not dox J. Cole completely up out the paint. Like I told y'all before, I don't think he's a trash MC. Listening to this track, I did realize I wanted to hear more from J. Cole. I wanted to hear something else outside of the rap bars about, I know how to do what I do. Even in this one, the fact that he took this as a concept, because realistically, this is also a concept song too. And it does highlight like a bit of a zeitgeist, because think about this, like when we bring up GNX. Okay, you get the album, you get some sinister messages, you get some inverted messaging, you get a lot of occultism on GNX, right?
A lot of occultism and reincarnated and so many other tracks, yeah.
Yeah, but that's why I said it's a deceptively simple album. It's not a simple album. Stylistically, what people are hearing sonically is a minimalistic approach, but his lyrics are very dense.
It's when someone does something so well. It's like when you see, you talked about like when you see Michael Jordan or when you see Kobe, like, man, I could do that. They make it look so simple. Then you try like that shit is difficult.
Sit your ass down, Go back to work.
But Man in the Garden, Reincarnated, there's a lot of occultic.
The Hard Part 6.
Yeah, and there's so many cryptic things, even when so many people did a great job even breaking down his dead friends. And even in the performance, how they were there guiding over him. So people did a lot of great breakdowns of GNX halftime show performance. And then also, of course, the album itself.
The reason why I say that, listen, folks, and I'm going to tell you something real quick. This ain't even about, because J. Cole did the damn thing on this. Now, I feel like if the whole album is leaning more into this package here, I'm all for it. He's got to do something as far as like, it's not even about the rap battle, although hip hop is hip hop. Because, it is what it is. I did it, Prince Solomon and Sincere Ignorance. We don't make the rules, okay? We're coming in tradition of everyone else with their papyrus's roles, okay? However, though, J. Cole being able to release a body of work that's very self-aware. I'm not talking about self-conscious. I'm not talking about conscious rap. Something about being aware in time, because I'm going to be honest with you all. That is what the general public is craving. You guys can look around right now in hip hop. You guys that are listening to this particular joint here, look around right now. The kill rap ain't popular no more. The bling rap ain't popular no more. When he came along with this is where everything is headed when it concerns music at this point in time, especially with the current crop of MCs and rappers. You're going to see an acceleration and visibility of guys like Loot, or what we even talked
Mick
about.
Jenkins, coming back out. Yeah.
Look, Mick Jenkins has a very dope video. He's got a dope joint out right now, but he's sitting on a DoorDash bike. That's telling you where everything is. Listen to what Kendrick said. That's what I said. Deceptively simplistic album, because although the GNX, the Grand National, is quote unquote a rare vehicle because it's an old school joint, it's an antique, it's a classic, but it's not a Ferrari, it's not a Maybach. Otherwise, in any other time in the 80s, or going back to 79, any other point in time, that is a regular working class blue collar car. And I want people to understand what we're talking about.
The Ferrari.
Yeah, think about like, even look at Kendrick's dress attire. It's regular shit. It's not diamond encrusted. It's regular shit. I'm going to the corner store. I'm going to that. J. Cole's approach here is talking about from the everyday man and woman's perspective. And the only reason why I'm just bringing it up,
he had a diamond chain though.
Who?
Kendrick, he does simplistic, like a clothing style that looks fly that everybody can do.
Did he had on a front cover?
He'll just add one thing on top of it that sometimes that'll be like luxury, like his chain, but that chain was supposed to symbolize something important, like his independent company PG Lane.
Yeah, I mean, look. Everybody do know that they work hard, because we saw J. Cole looking at the Cybertruck. You know what I'm saying? So I don't really care.
He was looking
about that.
The Tesla car. Yeah. So, but, which they saw this dread-headed 6 foot something guy, like, and they were ignoring him like, oh, he couldn't afford no Tesla. But yeah.
But that speaks to it though, right there. Even speaking to that, like, look how they walked past him. You know what I'm saying? Like, that still speaks to something right there, like an experience. Like, how many times have you had money to go into a space and they felt like you shouldn't be there?
Like Ye said before he had the syndrome he had now, when he said, you still a nigga in the coop.
Right. So I think where we're headed right now, and even going back to what we said, like, if you think GNX was a simple album, then why was there so much dense, multi-layered messaging at the Super Bowl halftime performance? All of those joints was mostly, based off of the tracks off of GNX. And I think where J. Cole is going to be taking it, especially right now, I think J. Cole is going to be bringing it back home with a message that he wants to kind of leave there at the headstone right there of those things.
Yeah, this makes me excited for the fall off. Like, I'm really excited for the fall off now. I'm excited, of course, for the deluxe GNX. I want to hear the other side, the darker twin powering up of Kendrick. That's really going to be exposing how he feels even more so about certain things. And I just want to say this as my last point on this Cole track. He has a lot of Saturn principles here. Like, even when he's talking about, feeling comfortable about feeling comfortable with his gray hair, the white strands, him coming to grips with getting older quicker than what he thought. And I just want to real quick just say a couple of lines just to remind that when he said, the father, boy, I work smarter and harder, because anybody who knows about astrology or occultism, Saturn represents old age, and also it represents working harder. Now, Saturn has a principle: whatever you work hard for, if you keep on, it can stand the test of time, and it can create longevity and legacy for a person. And you see here even further in the lyrics of this track called Cloud, you see him really, really having a lot of emphasis on aging and growing and maturity. That's the last thing I just want to hear. What's your thoughts on Prince before we close out? Is your thoughts about, even him coming to grips with, it's like you are a father, but you also feel like you're fathering and seeding in certain types of ideas or creativities or energy in music, penmanship, and coming to even a grips that you are considered now an elder, or you're getting there to be seen as an elder in the music game. Not necessarily, I know some people they go get crazy about aging, but the older millennials right now are between 36 to 40. So you're getting into that middle period now where it's like official. You are the older person. What is your thoughts on that?
I think it's interesting that he talks about mortality. And again, it could be triple entendre. You have cloud services, people's heads in the clouds, but then what people associate with the afterlife, which is clouds. And he speaks about mortality, and he said he's gotten older quicker than he thought based on the gray hairs, and that depends on what your view is on quote unquote gray hairs. At the end of the day, it's symbolic. One could argue in the entertainment space and in quote unquote an extension of Hollywood by way of music, you old. Or in everyday life, it could see that you have wisdom. Or it could also be a situation where J. Cole is also coming to grips that throughout his career, as much as there's been ups and downs, he's wrestled with a lot of stress, is what I have gotten. That's why I said this is psychologically a very vulnerable track, because even if you're looking to close things out and quote unquote hang it up and wait for your legacy, you have a new threat. The new threat is, are you going to be cloned with an avatar with AI technology? Are they going to take an extension of who you are and replace you and keep you going in the game? Also, are you going to be able to completely pull your essence out of the game and just let your art stand? Or will there be some strange alchemy, digital witchcraft, where they can take your alchemy and then they can terraform it like they did when we heard Tupac posthumous vocals scream G-Unit and Eminem on a very terrible album, Loyal to the Game. You know, J. Cole was touching on. Also, it reminds me of a song that I'm sure people might not have had a chance to check it out. Go check out Ice Cube's, I believe either I Am the West or Raw Footage. Raw Footage, I think, is one of Ice Cube's best albums, but I Am the West or Raw Footage. And this song reminds me of a song he had on there called Man vs. Machine. And also on that one, he had another song called, I believe, Hood Rich. And he talked about people being evicted out of their homes or people having to give up their organs to make a payment on the house, or to try to, they're giving up, their sacrifices some part of their body just to live. And then the other type of it with Man vs. Machine is being replaced by machines that the Japanese built, the Koreans built, the soul of man versus humanity and money and the extension of that. J. Cole is touching on a lot of that as well. And I'm going to be honest with you, you don't really hear too many MCs. Oh, Nas did it, I believe, on Magic 3. On the album Magic 3, he talked about how they wanted to AI clone his voice. They wanted to clone his likeness, and Nas raps in the song, he got mad and irritated about it. And this is something the late, great Prince Rogers Nelson talked about before. And so I also think with this particular track, you know, J. Cole is talking about, you know, will you be able to gracefully have your complete mortality, or will man or greedy billionaires and soon to be trillionaires of the empire, are they going to subvert mortality somewhere, even on you, and just make you more of a commodity that you don't get to rest? You're moving around. Look what they did with the digital Whitney Houston, the digital puppet Michael Jackson. It didn't even look like Michael Jackson. I don't know who that was, but
it does seem like J. Cole is saying, I want to grow old and die.
That's it. I want out. He's the Highlander. He's ready to sit down.
I don't want my soul to not be at peace.
Like the Black Museum.
Yeah, it's like the Black Museum, the Netflix show. What was it called again?
What was that show called?
Thank you, Be More. Black Mirror.
Black Mirror.
You know, yeah, he's like, I just want to grow old. I want to grow old and die, and let the extension of me be through my kids, not through people I have no connection with, taking my likeness.
Transhumanism.
And going into transhumanism with it. Go read Sophia's book, Third Eye.
Yes.
You know, but millennials, I think, shouldn't don't play dumb. We all grew up on nu metal, talking about humans versus machines. We all grew up on anime, talking about humans versus the machines. We all grew up on books, talking about humans versus the machines. Hip hop albums, talking about humans versus the machines. Literature, talking about humans versus the machines. I don't think this is a time where millennials should not be dumbing things down. You should keep your art and your message at a higher level. And, you know, just because some people may be getting more money by dumbing it down, I don't think that this is the time where we can afford to dumb it down. The stakes are too high. So I think it's okay. I mean, I can't think of any millennial, because most millennials, I'm a millennial myself, but we all grew up watching even movies like Minority Report, reading books like Animal Farm in 1984. I don't think we should pretend to be stupid. And then, of course, Gen Xers, y'all already know what's up. Many of y'all was creating, you know, artwork, you know, raging against the system, raging against the machines and all that other stuff. So I think everybody knows what's up, and we got to make sure we push the message forward so the young Gen Z and after the Gen Zers and so on and so forth can know what is at stakes. And this is not to be anti-technology. Of course, technology is a balance. It's an extension of us as our creation, and we have the ability to create. But there's gonna be, I'm just gonna be honest, you're gonna have terrorists blowing up technology if the technocrats go too far, which they already are. You're gonna get terrorists that's gonna be against AI. So I just think that people gotta understand it's a balance, and when things go too far, like you stealing people's creations, you taking people's likeness, you doing all this shady stuff, it's gonna lead to a blowback.
Yeah, so I'm gonna give the joint a perfect 10. The song is a perfect 10, and I don't mind partying, or I don't mind the circus, Barnaby Bailey. Fantastic book you guys should read about their situation. But at the end of the day, like, bro, I grew up on Outkast. We grew up on Nas. I grew up on Scarface. You know what I'm saying? I do like my MCs and wordsmith to fucking say something. That's what people love about Kendrick Lamar, and to another degree, in a different direction, that's why people have loved J. Cole. I just personally enjoy this version of J. Cole more because I think he has a fantastic way of sequencing contemporary events and what goes on in the political times, and that's why I said this track reminds me of quote unquote the better part of what we got out of Lupe Fiasco with American Terrorists, even joints where he talked about artificial insemination, and these topics are nothing new. Even when you brought up the Gen Xers, before we wind this up, remember there was the issues with the test tube babies, but the test tube theory was bred out of Aldous Huxley's A Brave New World. That was a conceptual topical point within that book, and then when you saw it come out into fruition with the test tube babies, and then you also had Dottie the clone sheep, so do you move into stem cells? So this is something that the dynamics of man playing God, and then there's man servicing God, because you have the dynamics of, are you playing God or are you servicing God to help the ailing human? So those are questions that you have to wrestle with, and you only know what's going on depending on who's your backer. So if you just have like a crowdsourcing situation and they're trying to fund a laboratory to get things going, you're more than likely on the right track. If somebody coming out of Silicon Valley and they're like, man, you know what, we want to invest $1 billion in what it is you're doing. Oh, by the way, can you take that and use it for the military? Then you kind of get an idea of what Summer Cole was talking about. So I'm very interested in seeing what he has to present here. This is the most interesting he sounded to me. I'm not saying sonically he sounded bad, because the ASAP Rocky joint was nice. Sitting out, we reviewed it. We talked about what we liked about it. But I actually think this is the best Cole has sounded in a long time, in my personal opinion. Even if Cole said, look, I'm still not on no battle and shit, but maybe it fires him up to craft one of the better hip hop albums for this year. I'm okay with that as well. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, leave your comments below. Tell us, what do you think about Cole's recent effort here, Clouds, and the dynamic and the approach that he's taking, and then some of the other subject matter that we talked about with science, technology, transhumanism, the question of integrity, morality, religion, spirituality, astrology, occultism. These are all things that are interwoven in it. And we are out. Peace.
Hey, show them how to dance with it, the new Macarena. Give them 16, but it's not a feature. Said he
Babylon and generation B8. With clear sense, uncommon, can you see straight? Freeze frames by the block in the deep state, deep fake DNA. I'm mobbing with the think tank. Be on the block with the guards where the beats done. What makes it loud for a law? Get your beat stung. Freeze frame, make it hard for bombers roll through. That hating energy get barbecue beef bump. You work a third every day to get the shame. Yeah, we got just like the murderers and rapists that you claim that you clout. So we burn a little sage, then we raid in your spot.
Get down, nigga, get your motherfucking ass down. What that motherfucking over there? Fuck, nigga.
Pull crime, pull crime, pull crime, pull crime, pull crime, pull crime, pull crime. Said he pull crime, pull crime, pull crime, pull crime, pull crime, pull crime, pull crime. Said he pull crime, pull crime, pull crime, pull crime, pull crime, pull crime, pull crime. Said he pull crime, pull crime, pull crime, pull crime, pull crime, pull crime. Hey, my nigga, I ain't hating. And my nigga, I ain't lazy. But I know everything that they got come from slave. So why you tryna give me occupation? My nigga, I ain't hating. Nah. And my nigga, I ain't lazy. But I know hoagies and some cold-blooded killers. Rape, some thieves. So why should I be patient?
I said he pull crime, pull crime, pull crime, show crime, show crime, pull crime, pull crime. Said he pull crime, pull crime, pull crime, show crime, show crime, pull crime, pull crime. Said he pull crime, pull crime, pull crime, show crime, show crime, pull crime, pull crime. Said he pull crime, pull crime, pull crime, show crime, show crime, pull crime, pull crime. And my nigga, I ain't hating. And my nigga, I ain't lazy. But I know everything that they got come from slave. So why you tryna get me occupation? My nigga, I ain't hating. Nah. And my nigga, I ain't lazy. But I know homies and some cold-blooded killers. Rapists and thieves. So why should I be patient?
Anyway, that's what I do. So, with that said, just pattern-wise, what you think I'm gonna do with a network? Y'all don't want it with me. I've been letting y'all breathe.
Alright, again.
Chilling, I'm minding my business. I have no beef with anybody. Pause.
No more pause.
I'm looking past it. So, Jay-Z, if I've offended you, I apologize. Leor Cohen, if I offended you, I apologize. Steve Stout, if I've offended you, I apologize. Just because you don't have the same morals and principles, it's cool. I'm not angry no more. I did what I had to do. I was a little aggravated about Aaliyah, so y'all just caught the brunt end of it. It was therapy.
I don't like your face.
Alright, sir, what do you want us to do with him? He has now issued the apology.
That's crazy. I mean, he really did it.
Well, you know, we can actually dispose of him, sir. I mean, of course, everything would be off the books.
No, that wouldn't be necessary. I mean, we've done enough. He's done what was required. You can actually go ahead and let him go, but tell him he has to leave the hat and, you know, renounce all affiliation with Rockefeller Records. But outside of that, that's about it. Good job, fellas. I told niggas I control niggas. Oh, you think you on the road, nigga? I told niggas. What is free? Free is when you under my green. Free is when I let you breathe. You mention the singers as if I won't see ya. I'm 1 in a million gunning for trillions. While y'all gossiping hags stuck in the barrel. A bunch of awkward ass crabs. It's still Hove God of War. You couldn't fuck with my canon class. Niggas hiding behind shades, still trying to get paid. Reliving the past, but this ain't them Iverson days. No. You ain't posting up shots with them quivering legs. So bow down, bitches, or get hit with the leg. A toast to new beginnings. It's like a movie. Witness my growth, my flow, and look at my mental capacity. It's just too much for anyone coming after me. Yeah, I know I'm just too big for your britches. You see what I'm saying? I'm talking about britches. I mean, some of y'all, a lot of y'all new niggas don't even know what that is. You know what I'm saying? Check your Sears catalog. Come holler at me if you want to know about real money and real power. Hell, I'll even put you on a salary. Don't be mad at me. I'll even pay you by the hour. I got one more. Niggas talking about culture vultures. But then they want us to listen while they play victims, crying about how the vultures owe us. These niggas apologizing, not realizing the God is rising to new heights. I flew by these YouTube guys, claim they motivating hip-hop. Chill before you get exposed for hating, so bitch, stop. You see what I'm saying? You're talking about culture vultures. You know, I mean, I'm picking at life. You know, everything's around me is living, is life. You know, I'm not picking at no dead carcasses. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Holla at your boy. You know what I'm saying? I'll be somewhere getting my hair twisted.
I got some problem. I got some problem. I got some problem. Yeah. I got some problems. I got some problems. I got some problems. Yeah. I got some problems. I got some problems. I got some problems. Yeah. Goddesses be taking me hostage on odysseys. Pardon me, I got a little bit plastic, faster than normal. Call it a ting. Hopefully this nigga will warn you. First let me warn you. I got a problem with ignorance. Tis why I'll burn the bridge or just swim. If it's me versus them, it's gonna be them. Cause I've learned enough to know how to win. Pride highs, the tide rise. Trying to reach Pacific Rim. What lies beneath the lines then? Is a devil that lurks in sheepskin, who show more teeth than a wolf grin. Still got cold feet or you gon' dive in. Life's a movie, drive in. Drop top, let's begin. It could be me and you, or me, you and your friends. Now we up in the Ritz. Started off at the Days Inn steak, cheese, eggs, and grits. I'm like, for Tuesday, slim black sweats with some gray Timbs. Raider hoodie, Marshawn Lynch. Y'all done alienated the alienation, and if it's war of the worlds, call me Vader Zim. Y'all done alienated the alienation, and if it's the war of the worlds, call me Vader Zim. Cause goddesses be taking me hostage on odysseys. Pardon me, I got a little bit plastic, faster than normal. Call it a tick, hopefully this liquor will warm you. First let me warn you, I got a problem with ignorance. I got a problem with ignorance. I got a problem with ignorance. I got a problem with niggas sis. I got a problem with all that come that swans us. Like we all just content be a nigga rich. Motherfuck you with kinda ain't no fictional construct enough to uplift my physical conduct. When it still ain't fixed, to do the water up and flip. My nigga, I got a problem. Yeah, yeah. I got a problem. Yeah, yeah. I got some problem. Yeah, yeah. I got a problem. Yeah, yeah. Goddesses be taking me hostage on odysseys. Pardon me, I got a little bit plastic, faster than normal. Call it a tick, hopefully this liquor will warm you. First let me warn you, I got a problem with ignorance. I got a problem with ignorance. I got a problem with ignorance. I got a problem with niggas sis. I got a problem with all that come that swans us. Like we all just content be a nigga rich. Motherfuck you with kinda ain't no fictional construct enough to uplift my physical conduct. When it still ain't fixed, to do the water up and flip. My nigga, I got a problem. Yeah, yeah. I got a problem. Yeah, yeah. I got some problem. Yeah, yeah. I got a problem. Yeah, yeah.
To this day, to this day.
Perhaps you shouldn't turn your back on me.
Is that a challenge?
You either die a hero, or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain.
White folks are nosy. They have specials. Nosy specials. Why does a bee make honey? You ain't a bee. Why do you give a fuck?